So I'm Vanessa Perrone. I'm from Montreal. I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and the owner of Motive Nutrition, a nutrition practice in Montreal, and we also offer online courses and programs as well.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat and share your story about your experience over the last 90 days. But before we dive into it, I would love to find out how you got into doing what you're doing now.
I have always been really passionate about food. Food has been essential in my life. I come from a long line of family cooks and bakers, and so food has always been central. And growing up in school, science has always been sort of my calling. And so nutrition was really kind of that combination of the two.
Yeah.
Did my bachelor's degree in nutrition, did a master's degree after that. I specialized a little bit more in pediatrics, and right out of the gate, actually while I was finishing my master's degree, I had been working somewhere part-time, but I knew that I wanted to kind of get out there and do something on my own and really make that difference. And I was setting up sales. So as soon as I graduated, I pretty much launched. So I've been at it pretty much since I was off the school bench was when I launched and went into business myself.
So how many years has that been?
It's been, well, 2 years.
Okay.
Close to 2 years now, yeah.
So pediatrics, if you have, I'm going to need you to send me some tips on how I can get my little 2-year-old girl Molly to eat more vegetables.
Yeah, the picky eaters, I got you covered. We've got all kinds of tips for that.
So, tell me about the first couple of years in business for yourself. Like what the good, the bad, and the ugly kind of looks like for you.
So, well, the first, it was, I really just started off as a blog. So it wasn't the business yet. So I was more in a sort of that dream up stage as I was finishing up school. And I officially, opened up the doors to my practice in late 2013.
Okay.
So I opened up the doors to my practice at the same time as I had put together my first online course. So I launched that at the same time.
Wow.
So yeah, I had kind of been working on that. And at the same time in parallel, this is going to sort of come full circle a little later, but my boyfriend, who's my fiance right now, also went into business and opened his business in the same month. So there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
And so that was late 2013.
Okay.
And, clients started trickling in. And by the end of 2014...
were you getting those clients because of the activity that you're doing on your blog, or was it other activities that you were doing?
A lot of it was really from the work that I had put onto my blog.
Okay.
And I wasn't expecting that. I was always told that, you couldn't be, successful and have a successful practice if you weren't affiliated with either a medical clinic or if you weren't affiliated with, a bigger chain. But the work that I had done so many months before and my consistency there, like I really ended up seeing it later on with just when the search engines just really kind of helped me there.
Yeah.
And so I just started getting a bigger flow of clients throughout the year. And by the end of 2014, I was really happy getting, my client load was really full, but I was too full at that point, which is a great problem to have. But
Sure.
I felt guilty because I was neglecting my blog. I was neglecting what sort of got me there in the first place.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a lack of alignment there, and I just didn't know what to do.
Okay. So, which is perfect segue. So it's the end of 2014 now. You're maxed out.
Yep.
And you see a video with this ugly mug on it, or however you got to it. And so tell me about that. Like, what was it about where you were at and what you saw this program possibly giving you that caused you to move into it?
I was well into the startup phase, but I was feeling all that stuff. I was feeling the overwhelm and the kind of lack of focus, and I was being very reactive and not being thinking I didn't have the time or the resources or the energy to do all of these things.
Yeah.
And those couple of videos, the one that was that third video for me was the big one for me, which was just more of what you don't call the time management, but just how we split ourselves into so many different parts and nothing ends up getting done. And that's when the light bulb really went off for me, and that I needed to just have a little bit more clarity in what I wanted to do, what was important, set my priorities straight.
Yeah.
And that's what I needed. And I was also being, my job is to be the person who's of service and to be the counselor and I felt like I couldn't see the forest anymore. I needed someone or a program, or I needed something to kind of guide me and show me the way.
Sure. So you jump in, and would love to find out just what your last 90-day experience has been like for you.
Sure. So the big exercise for me was to create my 3-phase achievement model. And when I did that, my first outcome goal was I really wanted to it was to double the sales from my counseling practice funnel in my first 90 days. And I did 250% in my first 90 days, which was really huge for me, being just myself. But I had to reorganize a lot of things to make that happen. I had to go through pricing. I had to rearrange my service offerings as well. So I ended up reaching my goal, but being able to do it in less work and less hours and free up some extra time. So it was like a double benefit for me to have hit that. And my second goal was to create and have ready to launch my signature online course, which had been on the back burner for like all of 2014. I'm like, I'll create it. I'll do it. I never came around to it.
Yeah.
And 90 days created, doors open next week. Webinar went out this morning.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it was, it surprised myself that, when you get down to it, you really can do it.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Oh, I'm excited about what's going to happen next week then for you.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm excited too.
Yeah. And I'll have to share some things with you then after the interview here. But anything that surprised you, whether it's in the program or with some of the results that you've gotten?
Surprised myself a lot. And that was one of the things that you had said, actually. I remember you mentioning something about the idea of potential and how everybody has potential, but it's you have to kind of potentialize. It's a good idea. And that was something that I'd always heard and I kind of always felt, but I really, just for myself, I needed to just see it in action. And I really needed to get out of busyness and really feel like I had a business and that was going on. So that was what surprised me the most, was that, sticking to it really worked. That was, I think, the most important thing. I had done some programs in the past, not that very many, but I had done some, and I think the most important thing, what I liked the most about the 90-day year, was that the quality and the quantity of the information was like just on point. It was just enough info to let you know why you should really pay attention to the concept, and enough to let you know, okay, this is what you got to do. Follow through with it.
Yeah.
The ball's in your court. And yeah, it was just it was really on point.
It's important not to overwhelm people with the content, and I think some people fall into that trap of wanting to overwhelm people so that they can show everyone how smart that they are.
Yeah.
And that doesn't serve the person right then and there, because typically the place that people are at, they're at that beginning stage of whatever the concept is you're trying to teach them. So you just need to get them into it. Yep. And then just know that because the way that this program is structured, that I'll be there on the other side, on the support side, so that when they do dive into it, they're going to get the more content part of it to get clarification. But you can't, you saw it in some of the sports, when someone would ask me a question about how to do something, and I would say, well, if you haven't taken any action on it, I'm not going to give you a how-to. You need to get onto the field, do the reps, get the practice in, and then come back and I'll help you. But I'm not going to do it the other way, because that's what a true coach does. Yeah. So, and you had, you had said that, and then I think, what was the other thing you just said? Because I was going to riff off of that for a second.
What were we saying? The quantity of the information, it was not too much. That's where we were at. But
whatever, it'll come to me.
Okay, all right. It's all good. But it was also, the quantity of information was intentional, and it was good, because it's perfect for the entrepreneur who has limited, time and focus and for that kind of stuff, and just really needs to, get on the field and get things done.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the next 90 days? What are you most excited about for the next 90 days for yourself?
So the launch is a big one. I'm really excited about that. And also have another sales goal, but I'm really just excited about having created something and getting it out there and getting some feedback and getting some traction.
It's tough to birth these things, isn't it? It's
sorry?
hard. It's hard work.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also actually opening up a second location in downtown Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Just to expand, not to kind of split myself in 10, but to develop the clientele a little bit, because I'm going to be bringing in some other dietitians as well.
Yeah.
Just so growing that way, and really excited about validating a new business idea. So I've already started that process, and feedback is pretty good. So I'm excited to just go all the way through.
Yeah.
Get an MVP out, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, you're crushing it! That's fantastic. In the last webinar, I think that we did for the launch of the program, Melanie was teasing me because at the end of it, she said, I had said, I'm excited for people to crush it like they've never crushed it before. And I remember when I had said it during the actual webinar, and she almost doubled over, like killing herself laughing, because she would often say to me during it, she would say like, okay, like you're going to come in and talk in your like sports wordiness. And remember, like, my audience is typically female. And what was really funny was the number of people that said that one of the big reasons why they signed up for it was the fact that I came from an actual athletics background. So they knew they were going to get, like, I'm not out there. I've never gone out and taught coaches how to be coaches and how to market coaching practices, you know, because that's not coaching, actually. That's not what true coaching is anyway. But so it was funny how many people said that the reason they signed up is they wanted someone to really kick their ass along the way. And
that really is. It's just not to use it, like, but that's pretty much it. And it was refreshing also, and because of that, because of your background, because your background was so different, we're in a bit of a, you know, a lot of what you hear out there is very similar and is the same, and it doesn't resonate as well. And it was just good. And you know, like I mentioned, you know, like how to describe the program, how to describe you. Like pro is one word that really came through for me, and it's just because of the concepts and everything was just so evidence-based, and there was no fluff, and I really appreciated that. That was good, really good stuff.
That's awesome. Any other, and there is one of the questions that I have people is, you know, if there's 3 words to describe the program, or even myself, whatever, you know, you do, what would they be for you?
So refreshing. So the no nonsense, no fluff approach was just really, really refreshing from just what we hear right now in the online world.
Mm-hmm.
Pro, both the program for its result and yourself for just the way that you approach coaching, which is a word that I find is thrown around very loosely today. And so I think that's really important. And clarity. So both from what the course kind of brings out, brought out of me a little bit more, and just the structure of the course was super clear. Your concepts were clear. It was. So yeah, those were my 3.
Great. And then just to wrap up, is there anything that I didn't ask that I should have asked that, or anything else that you'd like to share from your experience? Or
covered a lot. No, I think that was really it. I mean, to add, I would just say thanks for putting it out there. You know, I mean, a lot of people, I think, just really appreciate it. I was able to connect. I mean, one of the things I did want to mention was the Facebook community for this group, for this program is fantastic. And, you know, I'm Skype calling with people from, you know, the other side of the world, and we're connecting, and it's great. And it's a very supportive group, brilliant people. So, just thanks for putting this out into the world.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to share your experience. I appreciate it.
No problem. Okay.